Hi everyone and welcome to Make It Happen. I'm Geoffrey and on today's video we're going to talk about 3D printing. We can see a bunch of videos on YouTube about 3D printing. Most of them are about decorative items, and today I want to show you that we can actually do useful items, especially something for your shop, for example. On my last video you saw that I got myself a jointer, and on this machine there is like a pipe that you can connect to a vacuum system or like a dust collection system. The thing is that the diameter of the pipe of the jointer is not the same as the diameter of the pipe of the vacuum. So I was thinking myself, okay, so you can just 3D print a connection to join them. So on today's video, I want to go into details about the process of how to 3D print an item with that kind of machines that you can see here. So I especially want to show you a little bit the software that you need to use, one for the design of your item and the other one it's a software that you use to communicate with the 3D printer. So enough talking, and now let's start to build it. Okay, so here we are in Fusion 360, which is a software that I use for modeling and designing my items. You can get it for free if you go on the Autodesk website and that you register as a student. So let's start to display the three origin plans, X, Y, Z of the three-dimensional area, because we're going to need a two-dimensional area to start to sketch something. So here I will right click on one of the plans that I want and I will click on create a sketch. Then I will start to do my first shape, which will be a circle. So I will click on that circle icon here or hit the shortcut C on my keyboard. And I will set up the diameter of the circle at 69 mm, which is the diameter of the pipe on the jointer side. Then I need to do a second circle to represent the thickness of my pipe. So for this, I'll go to modify and offset, or the O shortcut. So I will select the circle that I want to offset, and then I will set the thickness at 2 mm and press enter. Now I can go from 2D to 3D by extruding the shape that I've just created. So for this, I can hit the E shortcut or go into the menu and look for the extrude function. Then I can select the shape that I want to extrude. And once this is done, I can just like pull the arrow on the direction that I want to extrude into a three-dimensional body. So here I will manually set up it at 20 mm. And here we go, we have a beginning of a pipe. So now I need to do the other side of the connection, the side that will be connected to the vacuum. So for this, I will just do an offset plan at 120 mm by selecting that plan, and I'll write 120. So this way, I will start my drawing at 120 mm. So 120 mm will be the actual total height of my 3D printed item. So same, I create a sketch and two circles at the good diameter, and then I can extrude also for 20 mm. Now that I have my two pipes, I need to connect them. And for this, I will use the function called loft that you can find on the menu create and then loft. So to use the loft function, I have my own method, which is maybe not the best, but at least it works. So I first create a sketch on the two surfaces that I want to join together. So I'll do first like a circle of the total surface that I want to join. And then I will just extrude it like really thin, like 0.1 mm, just so that I have like a big surface that will connect with the other one in front of it. Then I do the same for the other side. And each time that I'm extruding, I actually create like a new body instead of mixing it with the previous body, so that after I can just like hide the previous pipe to see exactly what I am doing. So now I can go back to my loft functions and I create the two surfaces that I've just made. And here the magic appears and now it's connected. Now I'm gonna need to dig into it to have like a conical pipe. So for this I will use another function which is called shell. So basically it just leaves a shell of your body and you can just set up the thickness of the shell that you want. So here I set it up at 2 mm like the rest of the pipe. And there you go. So I can just display back the two other part of the pipes and connect the three bodies that I have in just one body. And for this I'll use the function which is called combine. So I will select the 3 bodies and then go to modify, combine, and just click on OK. And I'll have now only one body. So now it's done for Fusion 360. I now need to go to another software which is called a slicer. And for this, I will first need to save my body as STL. So for this, I'll just do a right click on the body and then save as STL and just click on OK and save it somewhere. Then it's time to open the slicer. So in my case, it's CURA, it's a free software. So the slicer is the software that will tell to your 3D printer all the settings that he needs to know. So basically it can be the height of the layers, it can also be the temperature of the nozzle, the movement speed of the nozzle, the infill density, and many other settings. So it will generate a code that will be given to the 3D printer, and the machine will be able to read that code and do the actions that it needs to do. As you can see, my version is not updated. I should do it. I'll just do it later. But anyway, you can now open your STL file. So you go to get it here. You just select it, and then usually it's sometimes not in the right position that you would like it to be. So you have different options. When you select it, then you can just like move it or rescale it or just rotate it. And in my case, I'll just rotate it of 90 degrees. So on the right side, you can see all the settings. Not all of them are displayed. You have different profile, like depending on the material that you want, like PLA for example, and you can just select presets that you saved before. Then let's talk about the main settings that you need to know. The first one is the layer height. This one represents the height of each layers of material that the nozzle will put on the print. So it will just go and put layer over layers. So basically, if you put a high number here, it will save you time of printing, but you will see the streaks of the print. And if you put a small figures, you will have something more accurate and smooth, but it will really increase the time of printing. So 0.1 is really low, 0.4 is really high, and so what you can do usually it's around 0.2 or 3, something like this is good. The second one, light width, is basically the width of your nozzle. I know that some people change it to put something a little bit smaller or higher. I'm not really an expert on this, so I've never touched it and it works really fine like this. The two next settings are really related to the previous one. Basically, on a print, you'll have a shell, so you can set up the number of walls of that shell, and you will have inside the shell the infill with a certain pattern and a percentage of infill. So here, if you have a nozzle, like if you put the line width of 0.4 and you want to have 3 walls of shell, then the width of the walls will be, of course, 0.4 multiplied by 3, which will be 1.2 millimeters. Then you have other settings like, for example, the top layers, the bottom layers, the infill density and the pattern of the infill, the temperature of the bed, the temperature of the nozzle, the traveling speed of the nozzle, and many others that you can choose to display or not. Then you have different views and you can go and choose layer view. This one, when you will prepare the slicing of the piece, will display all the different layers of the print. So here you can go and click on the prepare button, and now you see that you have all the layers that are displayed, and you can actually go with that button down to all the layers and check if everything is the way you wish. So as you can see here, I have no infill, so we have been talking about the walls before. So I said that I got 3 walls, and here you can see if I go from the inside, I can count the 3, and from the outside also, and actually it's even less than 3 because there is not enough thickness, like because it's 2 millimeter if you remember the thickness of the pipe, which means that it will be maximum 5 walls since the nozzle is 0.4. You can see here that if I chose to put only 1 wall, then we can see the infill inside, but I don't want it because I'm not sure that it will be enough solid, so I prefer to make it only with walls. Okay, so now it's time to save and put it on the micro SD and give it to the printer, and let's go for the time lapse. Okay, so the connection works pretty well. The fit is quite okay. I just had to scratch it a little bit with a file, but then it fit really well. I don't have to do anything, or I just plug them together and it works perfectly. I hope you guys enjoy to see the process of how to create a 3D printed item. I will have more video about this topic in the future. I wanted to share with you that when you do 3D printing, it's actually really kind of satisfying and rewarding, that when you finish your item, it actually matches exactly the way you wanted it. And going to all the process of designing a customized item just for you, and at the end of the day, it perfectly works. It just kind of super cool. So if you guys appreciated this content and want to help me building that channel, then don't hesitate to share the video, hit the like button, hit the bell, whatever you want to hit, just go for it. And also don't forget to subscribe. I will wish you a good week, and until next time, don't forget to make things happen. Bye.